What's up, everybody? It's the Rob Father, Rob here with the good guy Nate. We're coming at you with the second episode of Pull Up and Shoot. Um, Today we're going to just kind of go through the first week of the NBA season, kind of get some breakdowns of some things that's happened, some players, some teams, kind of getting a feel for the season. So, Nate, I'll let you go ahead and you can kind of start off today and just kind of what you've been thinking about the NBA season so far.
Okay, so it's been a pretty fun season. Definitely happy about the Lakers being 2-0. The first 2-0 start since the 2010 and 2011 season, which is crazy.
It's hard to believe with the legacy that they have that it's been 12, 13, 14 years, whatever, since they started 2-0.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think our last trip before the bubble was 2010. So of course 2010, 2011. So we were pretty bad for a while after that. A lot of different head coaches, a lot of players have pretty much have came and gone. But it's early, but I think everyone is pretty impressed with JJ so far.
yeah, and just from the clips that you've seen on X and NBA shows and all that, where he's in there celebrating with the team after the wins, and he's getting out there and practice and trying to body up on the big guys and excuse me, playing defense, and it seems like he's brought a whole new life to the team, um, all from top to bottom, from AD down to the 15th guy on the bench.
Yep, I
So
definitely think that's it. So it matters, man. It definitely matters. But it's been some pretty good basketball. Was able to get a good look at Julius Randle. Pretty much on the Timberwolves. He kind of exerted himself a little bit on game two. Same way for Cat. Last night they had kind of annihilated the Pacers. Um, on last night, so that kind of stood out to me. I don't know what's going on with Halliburton, man. Halliburton
so
has
I'm
been
glad
playing
you brought up. He's one of
some
the guys
bad
I was going to
basketball.
talk about.
It was
He,
crazy. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. But yeah, Halliburton, man, I don't know what's going on. Like offensively, it's not there. The assists, which is his bread and butter. The assists really isn't there, man. So we've always talked about it when those teams, and it's early in the season, anything can change, but we always kind of talked about it when those teams make those leaps and they have a good postseason or a overachieving postseason, I'll say that. And then we expect them to pretty much be here and say, okay, this is the norm. We'll be looking for this moving forward. But from those two games, man, it just hasn't been there. I'm not sure if he's not healthy or if he's still thinking about the Olympics or the summer. But yeah, they're gonna have to get it together, man.
yeah, I was looking at his stats, and I mean I know it's only been 2 games, but when you're looking at a guy who's averaged over the last 3 seasons 9.6, 10.4, 10.9 assists per game, and he's got 9 through the first 2 games, you got to wonder why or what or something. And you would think, and we talked about the other day having Siakam there the whole year, you would think that would help him because Siakam can get buckets, uh, but for whatever reason, Halliburton can't score and he's not getting assists. I don't know. It was one of the like I said, it was one of the main topics I had today was talk about him and just what was going on.
Gotcha. So I guess since we talked about the Lakers for a little bit, what do you think about the Thunder so far?
So I watched the first 3 quarters of the night, the West Coast games. The late start times kind of suck for anybody in the Central or Eastern time zone. So I watched the first 3 quarters, and it started slow for the Thunder. Shea wasn't really asserting himself. He was kind of deferring to everybody else, and then it picked up to where he was being Shea. Um, He was taking shots. He was making shots. He was getting to the bucket. But I think they were good. Chet had a great game. He actually was able to play a little bit of defense on Joker. Um, there toward the end of the third quarter when Joker kind of faked left and went over his right shoulder, and Chet reached over and blocked it, and then got the trail dunk from just inside the free throw line. I thought I was gonna wake everybody in my house up. It was to see Chet be able to take the body from Joker and not just get driven all the way back to the basket, to be able to stay in position and get the block at the same time.
Yeah,
I think that's huge for his game.
it is, man. Because Joker, just from a stoutness standpoint, Joker is much heavier than Chet. Much, much, much heavier.
They said on
Um,
the podcast that it was like Chet's listed at like 215 and Joker's at like 284. So you're talking
yeah,
a unfair,
yeah,
discrepancy. Um, I did say when the game started and I first saw Chet on the camera that I thought he had put on a little muscle mass. The 215 may be a little deceiving. It may be a little higher. Um, but you're talking 60 plus pounds no matter what. And Joker's one of those guys who knows how to use his weight to his advantage and does it extremely well. That's why he's what, 3 MVPs?
yeah. He's pretty sick, man. Pretty sick guy, but he plays very smart. He's a very intelligent basketball player. Like with every move, if you just watch the Nuggets play, out of everybody in the league, in terms of, okay, why did he do that? That didn't make sense. Like he plays the most smartest basketball probably out of anybody else in the league. Like all of his plays make sense.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a reason he got a triple double against the Thunder the other night, and they still got the doors blown off of him. 16, 13, 12, I think what he ended up having. The guy's good. Like I don't, he's a generational type talent, and he doesn't seem like he should be that. He's not super fast. He's not super explosive, but like you said, he's super smart. He knows what's coming, what's happening. He sees it all. He knows it all. So, but another topic I did, now that you brought up Joker, I did want to talk about the Nuggets from that game the other night. I, we talked about them the other day as being one of the three juggernauts in the Northwest Division. Uh, Watching them the other night, I'm going to change my stance on that. I think the three juggernauts in the West now are Minnesota, the Thunder, and the Mavericks. Um, Denver didn't look good. They you lose KCP from the starting lineup, and you have to put Christian Brown now in the starting lineup instead of a reserve role, which I think he's better suited for. And he's playing 29 minutes the other night. Um, if you look at the guys that played for them the other night, you had Dario Saric played 11 minutes, Peyton Watson 15, Julian Strawther 17, and Westbrook 21. I can somewhat see the reasoning behind Westbrook playing 21, but I don't see any scenario where you can compete in the Western Conference if Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson are your 7 and 8 guys. They have zero depth whatsoever. And they also don't have a pick next year. They don't have assets to trade. They have a 2026 first, a 28, 30, and a 31. They've got a little bit they can get rid of, but you can't get rid of the 30 and 31 in back-to-back years, so you can only use one of those. They've got to be able to have some picks by the rules of the NBA. You talked about it the other day. They're strapped for cash after giving Aaron Gordon 30 some odd million a year, and Jamal Murray's got his bag. Do they make the top 4 or 5 seeds at this point, just from what you saw?
It's hard to say, man. And I definitely agree from the depth standpoint. And it's so crazy. We always talk about how teams lose, but they don't really add. And you win a championship, and then right after that, you lose Bruce Brown, which is a great role player, and you lose Jeff Green. I think they felt that in the postseason, but still made the postseason. But they did feel it. You follow that up with losing KCP. Something else that you're going to definitely feel. Because one thing about the Joker, as good as his playmaking is, when he passes it, he needs guys that can make shots. So, you know, they still have their core four, but as you just stated, they don't have any depth. They're not going to have a lot of cash. They don't have any picks. So if you underperform or you can't get it done, you probably going to have to look to that core four and see who can you trade to try to bring something else in. So it's definitely something to think about. We know it's not going to be Joker. We know that it's not, going to be Murray, Gordon, and Porter. Those are the two that I'm kind of looking at. Porter can rebound. He can make shots, but he's not going to make anyone better. So he's still young, but I think when the shot isn't falling, he's not going to be able to do anything effective enough on the court to help his team out or make his team win. It's either he's shooting a high percentage and they're looking good, or if he's shooting a low percentage and they're not looking good. It's pretty much going to be one or the other with Michael Porter.
So I'll argue this point. I think Jamal Murray is not going to get traded because I don't think they can trade Jamal Murray right now. He's a good floor general. Offensively, I don't think he's that good. He has slowly declined, and I don't know if it's the knee injury and all that, or if he just gets better in the postseason or whatever scenario. But to come out and have 12 points in 38 minutes with only 4 assists the other night, I mean, I know the Thunder's defense is legitimate, especially in the guard position, but you can't have your floor general as your number 2 scoring option have 12 points in 38 minutes against the team that you're going to have to possibly compete for the Western Conference title.
Yeah. Hey, I agree. And looking a bit further, he was horrible in the Olympics. Horrible. For the Canada national team. Of course, he doesn't start. He comes off the bench for that team, but it's just like he wasn't there. So I'm not sure if he's declining or if he's just facing better defenses or what. But yeah, something's going on with Murray. Cause like I said, as good as Joker is, Murray was that person that makes the big shots when they need to actually make the big shot. If it's a big bucket, usually that's him. That's when his number is called. But yeah, got some work to do, man. It's gonna be interesting in Denver this year, I believe.
Yeah, and he's only 27, so it's not like he's past his prime by any means. Just I don't know, like he just didn't look good the other night. I mean, he got 6 rebounds, he got 2 steals, but for your lead dog being your point guard to have a 4-to-3 assist to turnover ratio against one of the upper echelon teams, it's not a good look to start off the season.
I'm with you, man. I'm definitely with you there. Now they have the Clippers tonight, so I think that'll be pretty exciting. But both of those teams are 0-1, so someone is going to get their first win of the season tonight. So should be interesting.
I think. I think the Nuggets are favored by about 8 or 8.5 points.
They're at home.
Yeah, it's 8.5. I assume that they're going to beat the Clippers, but I don't. I mean, the Clippers don't have anybody that can guard Joker. Zubac can't. He can't hang with him. He can't do all that without Kawhi playing defense. I don't know that this might be the game Michael Porter gets his. I don't know. I do. There's another guy I want to talk about too. Out of the same division, out of the Northwest Division. We've covered the Thunder. We've covered the Nuggets. Minnesota. Another guy who's new to the situation. You brought up Julius Randle, and he had an amazing game the other night. and I don't worry about him. But Dante DiVincenzo has been bad so far by the standards that he set over the past few years. Um, I think he had 8 points the other night or something like that off the bench, whatever it was. And it made me wonder. I was thinking about this yesterday. Is Dante DiVincenzo good when he has a dominant point guard? And is that the only time he can be good? Or is Dante DiVincenzo just an average player?
So the thing is only 2 games, and I think that his shooting is, I think that's his strongest point. And I think some of the shots that he's missing is not that he's just checked so good. I just think a lot of it just comes to him missing the shots. Um, so I think he'll be better. Just like Randall was better. I think they have the Raptors tonight. So I'll be anxious to kind of see what happens there in terms of from a production, standpoint. Definitely keeping my eye, on Julius Randle because with him, his body language, like the first game of the season, it didn't seem like he was really like he wanted to be there. Like he seemed very disengaged defensively and offensively. And I think I saw that Ant-Man just stated that, he didn't worry about he didn't want Randall to worry about fitting in with them. He wanted Randall to pretty much just focus on him, and then the team will fit in with him. And I think that's why he was so aggressive the last game. Like, he had a great game, so definitely got my eye on them. I like Dante, and I think he'll figure it out. New system, new team, new coach, new personnel. I think he'll be okay.
But what made me think about it though is he came into popularity, stardom, whatever you want to say, over the last couple of years when he was kind of unknown before. But the two teams that he played his best for and shot his best for was Golden State with Steph Curry running the point and the Knicks with Jalen Brunson running the point. So before that, you don't have that type of point guard. And right now, you've got Mike Conley, who Mike Conley's a great player, but Mike Conley's mid-30s. He's not gonna force everybody else's hand to leave DiVincenzo open to shoot, where they can kind of sag more toward DiVincenzo and let Conley do what he's going to do because he's not going to score like that.
Yep,
And that's
it is true.
that was my on that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good observation because both of those, Brunson and Curry, they're both great scorers that you have to pretty much focus your defense pretty much on. So you don't have to focus your defense on Conley at all. So there's actually is a pretty good point. So yeah, we definitely have to see how it pans out because that very well could be how he's good when he has those great, point guards to kind of give him those looks, or it just helps out based on how defenses play those point guards.
And right now, I don't think it helps him that he's coming off the bench.
Yeah,
I think he'll probably be better suited in the starting lineup. And
I can see that.
even if he could play off ball with Ant uh, taking control, and it may open it up some more. But they're going to double team Ant. They're going to do whatever they got to do to get the ball out of his hands, and then they're just going to leave Conley and let him do what he's going to do. And Gobert's an offensive liability as well. So you've got 5 defenders playing 3 guys basically at that point, and Randall's going to get his buckets. Ant's going to get his buckets. Vincenzo's got to be able to get his for them to, I think, maximize the trade.
That's true.
All right, man. I know we've said it multiple times. It's only been a couple games, and I'm gonna ask you about somebody. And for me, it's entertaining to think about. Since this was one of your hot takes that Ben Simmons was going to play at an All-Star level.
Hey, Ben. All right. So, of course, because typically with him, what he's supposed to be is a huge guard. All right. So the rebounds and the assists, like his physical movement on the court seems to be how it needs to be. But turnovers is killing them. Like if you just look at during his time on the court, he really isn't benefiting the team from a large standpoint. Even though because he's a liability. If you clog up the paint, you stay at home on the shooters, you're going to limit the assists. And then, it's going to be some forced passes, which is why the turnovers are there. So the inability to really perfect an offensive game or have a jump shot, it just makes it much easier to defend them from a team standpoint. You have Cam that's there. You have Cameron Johnson, that's there. These guys are shooters. They're scorers. So I think it's his timing, and I think that's just not playing competitive basketball for a long stretch of time. I think that's what is kind of hurting him from a timing, standpoint. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. Well, you may think I did. I did had to cut ties with him in fantasy, but he'll be back. I dropped him for a second so he can get his mind together. I'm gonna go back and get him soon. Um, so I'm not ready to give up on him yet, but it hasn't been the most ideal, start with him. But I don't think that it's anything physical at all. I just think that he just has to get his timing, pretty much together. That's my take on good old Ben.
So I'll agree. I don't think it's anything physical. I think for him, even for the last 2.5 years, it's all been mental. Um, I mean, we all know he took the break off to work on his mental health. Um, and I wonder if he never really fixed that issue or was ready to come back. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure with the amount of money he's getting paid to literally not be playing at all. Um, I'm sure that can wear on your mental health. It's just something about him just isn't right. I know the teams in Philly were better than the teams have been in Brooklyn, but he went from 15-8, 16-9, 16-4, 14-3 points per game to where it's 6.9, 6.1, and so far 6.5 this in the first 2 games of this season. So he has more than cut it in half, and he's just not shooting the ball. He
Yep.
shot almost 1,000 shots in his rookie season, 960 in his second season. Then it went to 647, 583. And since he's gotten to Brooklyn, he's taken a grand total of 318 shots in 2 years plus 2 games. Like, if it's that big of a mental block, then he needs to be able to work through that to fine tune his game and learn how to shoot the ball, or he's always going to be a liability to any
Yep.
team he don't.
Yep. And when he's not a scoring threat, it's extremely easy to defend their team because you know
Look at
where the
Minnesota.
point. Yeah, you know where the points are going to come from. So if you don't have to worry about him, or if you can give him 10 feet from a defensive standpoint, you just stay at home on the shooters. You got Claxton, but he's more so an interior guy, a putback guy. They're not running many plays for Nick Claxton.
No,
So I think that's the thing with them. I mean, they're 0-2, which I don't think anyone thought that they would come out the gate swinging and getting
no,
wins. But he definitely, and I think that could be something that could be coached in terms of what type of development coaches that they have, in Brooklyn, what different ways that they can try to develop his game. Because that's what it is. He has to get to the point that, he can score some buckets. So that's really what the focus really needs to be on getting, seeing how you can get him established, whether it's some back cuts to the rim for some easy layups or some easy dunks. That's what I would be focused on. Like the passing and the rebounding is good, but man, we got to get you active. Let's just get you some cuts. Let's get you some things at the rim so you can kind of get yourself going.
right, yeah, and we know he's not going to shoot threes. He's only made, I think I saw 7 or 9 or something like that in his entire career. But at 6'10" as a point guard, 6'10", 240 is what ESPN has him listed at. Why are you not posting everybody up? He is a good passer. if you can get down low, get on the block, and have these little guards, you either should be dunking on somebody or drawing a double team because you're 5 feet from the rim where somebody else gets an open dunk or Cam Thomas gets an open three or whatever. I've not understood why he's not done that consistently.
It's interesting, man. It's interesting. So definitely, kind of keeping my eye on Brooklyn. Just from that standpoint, I kind of want to see how everything unravels and what they decide to do. From that standpoint, and it's really a critical time for him. He has a big contract, but we have to look at it when that contract expires and it's time for a new deal. We're probably going to see the largest reduction in a deal in terms of from 1 year from one contract to the next. This is probably going to break records for the largest decrease that we've seen from one contract to another for an NBA player. It's going to be crazy.
Is he on a max deal? Is he on a max or super max, whichever he's on?
He may be, because at that point, that's money that Philly gave him before everything kind of got crazy. So he's probably on the max rookie deal still.
So he could go from a max rookie contract to just above league minimum?
It's
Because
possible.
I don't think he has the value to get anything more of league minimum right now.
No value.
He's so liable to just either not play or not help your team at all.
Yeah, and his days as a starter really could be extremely limited. I don't think anyone is going to start him, unless he does some serious rebranding on the court. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
Realistically, name 3 more teams that would have him as a starter right now.
Yeah, I really can't. I think everyone, and then one thing about it, for the point guard position, honestly, that's probably the most plentiful position in the league when you have good players. Point guard. If we're talking about point guards, that's probably the position when you say that's probably, I think I probably can name about 10 great point guards before I can name 10 great any other positions in the league right now.
Yeah.
Just think about it. That's the position.
Every team to name the point guard, and almost every one of them has a good one. And if they're not technically considered a point guard, whatever you consider like LaMelo Ball, he's the best player on the team, and he's got the ball the most, whether he's the point guard or not. Cade is another example of what Ben Simmons should or could be. Cade is a big league guard.
Yep.
And doesn't shoot the ball great,
yep.
But he makes everybody around him better and still produces by getting to the rim and making some shots.
Yep. I agree, man. I definitely agree. So I don't know, man. It's going to be real interesting. So we'll kind of got to see what's going to happen there. But, they got some things to prove, man. Well, he has some things to prove for sure.
For sure. All right. Well, we're at about 30 minutes today. I apologize to everybody for us going an hour and 13 minutes last time, but it was good, interesting conversation. So we'll finish off today with just some kind of weekend outlook, predictions, games you're interested in seeing, today, tomorrow, whatever. So whatever you want to get going with right here, we can talk about.
All right. So one thing that I want to keep my eye on and Golden State fans, relax. You're 2-0 right now. You're blowing guys out. All right. You play Utah. You play Portland. All right. So I just want to get that out there. I do. I like to see Golden State playing well. I think it's good for basketball when they are playing well. Like I said, their first 2 games have been pretty impressive. Now they do have the Clippers tomorrow.
Yep.
So a different team than what they've been playing better. But I don't think that they're going to continue to blow teams out by 20 and 30 points. I don't think that we're going to get that. So game tonight that I'm definitely looking forward to, 100% is going to be the Kings and the Lakers. I
Yep.
want to see. I want to see what's going to happen. There definitely is going to be a marquee matchup with Sabonis against Anthony Davis. So I know that's definitely a game that I'm looking forward to seeing in terms of how that's going to play out. What game do you kind of have on your radar as being a good
That one for sure. AD Sabonis is always going to be fun. Um, Sabonis numbers the other night were down a little bit. I don't know if that's just adding DeMar DeRozan to the mix. Um, DeMar had a really good game. Sabonis only had 8 rebounds and 4 assists, I believe. Um, there's another one later tonight. The Mavericks and the Suns. Um, Dallas looked pretty impressive against San Antonio the other day. Phoenix is coming off the back to back, I believe. They played last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
They played the Lakers. Played the Lakers last night.
Yeah, right. So interesting to see that. The line on that one is Dallas -2.5 on the road, which probably means that maybe one of the big three don't play tonight. I don't know how their injuries are holding up or what they're going to do. Um, there's an interesting game at 7 o'clock tonight though. That is with no, I'm not talking about. I mean, the Thunder and Bulls. It'll be interesting to see Giddy play against the Thunder, but Orlando and Memphis. Um,
mm.
the team that 2 years ago was the top seed in the West, and then fell off last year with injuries, and has a chance to be really good again this year. And Orlando, a team that jump started themselves last year and looks to be maybe not in contention to win the East yet, but have the talent to do it. There should be a lot of young players in that game, and it should be a pretty good game in Memphis. So, do you have any take on that game? Or
Man, definitely, I got to keep my eye on Orlando. Man, they annihilated the Miami Heat. Like,
bad?
bam, 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 Adebayo. Oh my God, I don't know what was going on. I mean, he wasn't there offensively. He's a defensive player. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell that game. So, I think that they'll be, it's going to be a good one. Just from a matchup of standpoint. I mean, Franz Wagner, um, he plays pretty good ball. So
Yeah,
that matchup, because I think he's pretty much. I'm anxious to see how they're going to defend him, and I'm also anxious to see what type of impact Ja Morant is going to have on the game as well. Now, the previous game that you mentioned, I know Giddy is going against the Thunder. We got Caruso going against the Bulls. So
yeah.
you get the chance to see two players against their former um, teams there. So I'm not sure how competitive the game is going to be, but
I'm gonna
should be
I'm gonna go
fun.
out, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Giddy doesn't play more than about 18 to 20 minutes tonight. I think they're fully capable of. First off, they know his entire game and how he plays. Defensively, they're fully capable of completely eliminating him from the game. They know his shooting liabilities. They know the style he plays, and there's enough defenders between Dort and Shea and Caruso to eliminate him completely. So I don't see him getting a lot of run in the second half of the game. And it still might be a blowout too. So nobody may get some run in the second half of the game.
I can see it, man. I know the Bulls are at home, but yeah, I can see you guys kind of getting in there and getting them squared away pretty quickly. I'll be watching
Yeah,
though. I think I'll put my eyes on that one to kind of see what's going to happen. So I think I'll be tuned in to that one.
yep. There's a couple games tomorrow that I want to hit on a little bit.
Okay.
Um, Thunder will be on a back-to-back coming from Chicago back home to Oklahoma City for the home opener. The Hawks are coming in after that showing they had last night with against Charlotte. Trey Young coming back home. He's from Norman, which is about 25 minutes, 30 minutes away. Uh, it's always fun when you get these high schooling teams like that um, against the Thunder's solid defense to see which one's really going to win. Um, the Hawks do have two pretty good bigs. Capella's a good rebounder. Uh, I'm gonna butcher his name, so I'm gonna call him OO.
Yeah.
He's been playing good, but something to watch for. It's just they're big, they're rebounding. If they can make shots, the Hawks can definitely hang around. But
Yeah.
the game today tomorrow for me is the 76ers and Pacers. Which team is real? Which team will actually show up? Is Embiid going to play? Is a lot of what ifs in that game. Um, you would have thought Halliburton versus Maxey would have been a showdown, but if Maxey doesn't, I'm sorry, if Halliburton doesn't play up to his capabilities, then Maxey's going to shine like no other. What's your thoughts on that
Yeah.
game?
So for one, Embiid and Paul George, neither one of those guys I'm expecting to play at all. I will say this in terms of the rest of the league. Go ahead and beat up on Philly while you can. I would not be surprised that once those guys get back, if you look at 15 games, I won't be surprised to see them go 13-2. When they get those guys back, Maxey is a baller. Maxey is a baller.
And Kelly
And just to
playing
see,
out of his world right now too.
yeah, like I said, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. And the thing is, his assist really is a high right now. But when you got that big guy in the middle, they probably are going to go up a little bit more.
Mm.
Once he gets back, they kind of got to stay the course. And the thing is, if I had to guess, I would say we're probably going to see Paul George and Embiid back next week. I think they're probably going to target their return probably on the same day. If not the same day, one may come back a game before the other. But I think they're going to come back, and I think they're going to see blood. I mean, I really do. So I'm not buying too much into the matchup just based on I don't see any one of those guys playing. So I would be honestly more intrigued with the Hawks and the Thunder, expecting the Thunder to win tonight. Both of those teams will be 2-0. Hawks will be
Yeah.
2-0. The Thunder will be 2-0. So if they win tonight, Giddy may go crazy. We don't know. I don't think he will. It's probably going to be a Giddy under day for me, but we'll see once I actually look at the lines. Maybe over first half. We'll see. But that's really the matchup that I'm looking forward to, and especially just from the standpoint of no Hartenstein. We've seen that the Thunder can struggle from a rebounding standpoint, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Clint. This could be a 15 rebound game for Clint Capella easily. The offense, I don't really know what he'll do from that standpoint offensively, but I do expect the Hawks probably to get in there and get some boards. But I'm really anxious to see Trey Young, and I'm anxious to see SGA. And aside from that, seeing Chet, and even Jalen Johnson, I think they're probably going to see each other at some point for that matchup. And I don't think anyone will probably be looking forward or really talking a lot about those particular two guys, but I think that'll probably be a fun. I love to see Jalen, on Chet for a few possessions just to see how he fares. But I want to see. Kendrick Perkins said Chet was looking like a black Kevin Garnett. I mean, a white Kevin Garnett the other day from the first game. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Chet. I think this could be Chet's coming out party this year, man. I know we always talk about SGA, but and SGA is good. But I got to keep my eye on Chet, man. I still love the fact that they do all of their post games interviews together. I've never seen a team do that and consistently do it, and that says a lot about their camaraderie. Like you will have about 5 or 6 guys having a post game conversation together, and that says a lot about chemistry. Says
Yeah.
a lot about those players, their locker room. So got to keep my eye on the Thunder, man. They're looking pretty good so far.
For the record, I was looking at the rebounding for the Hawks. Capella's getting 7 a game right now. Onyeka's getting 8, and Jalen Johnson's getting 8.5. So that's three guys that are 6'8", 6'9", or bigger, uh, that are good sized bodies. Capella's a big boy, Onyeka's a big boy, and Jalen he's pretty thick too. So it could be a long night on the boards for the Thunder if they don't get some good positioning, and they're going to have to put out a lot of effort to get rebounds against the Hawks. I feel like it should be a good game.
Yep, and then even from the point guard, matchup, Trey can't check SGA. SGA can check Trey.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they're going to win. I don't think the Hawks would win based off of what Trey's doing, because he's probably going to. This is probably not going to be a game like he had last night, where it was like 35 and 12. This could be one of his 17 and 14 type games. So they're going to have Jalen or DeAndre Hunter or somebody else is going to have to do some bulk scoring more so than they have to start the season to eliminate that. Because whether SGA's guarding Trey, Caruso's guarding Trey, Dort's guarding Trey, Dort's
it's
going to be
tough.
physical with Trey. It's going to be tough for Trey to get his buckets. So he's going to have to either be wide open and get shots and make them, or he's going to get a lot of assists, I feel like. So
I think so too, man. I definitely think so too. But that's pretty much going to be a good matchup. I definitely think it's going to be a good matchup. Definitely, and this is not a marquee matchup, but I'm looking at what Jeremy Grant has been doing for Portland. They're not going to win any games, but he is balling. He keeps us up for about 15, 20 games. Front office will be called by several teams inquiring about how they can get their hands on Jeremy Grant. Guaranteed.
And I don't know why y'all keep letting me get him in fantasy, but I've had him 3 years in a row, and he has done the same years in a row since he's been in Portland.
Yeah, he has. He has.
He was 34-6 last night, and he's still a decent defender. I know when he was here, he was more known for his defense than he was at scoring, but he's turned into a scorer. Um, there's not a lot of teams in the league that couldn't use a player of his capabilities, quite honestly. I wouldn't mind seeing him come off the bench for the Thunder, and on the second unit, because you add his length and his scoring ability to what we have with the pure shooters on the second unit for the Thunder. That's a good fit, I think.
Yeah, you know what I just thought about? A scenario, and I think you'll kind of have to deal with some give and some take. If you're Denver, would you trade Aaron Gordon for Jeremy Grant?
Yeah, I
I
would.
would too.
Um,
I would too.
I watched Aaron a lot growing up, a Magic
Mm-hmm.
fan. His offensive game has declined. I think they're probably both pretty capable defenders, comparatively speaking. But I think Grant's offensive game would suit the Nuggets better if Jamal Murray's not going to score.
Yep, I agree.
I think if you add Grant's ability to get open with Michael Porter Jr. on the wings, that gives Joker both sides of the floor he can look to pass to, or slashers that can get to the rim and still finish, because they're both good sized bodies as well. So yeah, I would do that trade.
I would too. And I literally just thought about it. I think if you're Denver, and I mean, even if you're Portland, if you get Aaron Gordon back, I mean, I think that's pretty good. Now, it may have to be incentivized a little bit just from the standpoint of Jeremy Grant. I'm not sure. Even from the contract standpoint, I think from a contract, it's going to work. Based on what they're both making, I think that is something that would improve Denver. They'll lose a little bit of Aaron Gordon's rebounding because he's a much better rebounder than Jeremy Grant, but it'll be offset based on the scoring capabilities that Jeremy Grant has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. But I definitely got to keep my eye on Jeremy Grant. It's hard for me to imagine he finishes his season with Portland. And I think if we just were to look at a lot of different teams in the league, a lot of good teams, he's that one player that can make a good team great. That's in a losing situation. We know Portland. I mean, Portland is Portland. It's not gonna be in the parades in Portland anytime soon. But I think he's that one player that can be the missing piece to a lot of contending teams if they can manage to land him.
Yeah, and he's one of the older ones on the team. He's 30. By the end of the season, he'll be 31. So he's there. He's in zero form or fashion is he part of their future. With Henderson, Shady Sharp, Klingon,
Anthony, still got Anthony Simons.
Thomas. I don't think Aiton is a part of their future either, but I don't know that he's produced enough to really get much in the trade market right now.
He hasn't, not for the amount of money that he's making, because he's on a pretty large deal. It just has to be. It got to be the right situation because he makes a lot of money for him to not to be that consistent of a player. Like he's no Miles Turner. He's not that type of player. So I don't think he's in their long-term plans now. I don't think their front office will be ringing a lot for someone to get their hands on DeAndre Ayton. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
But Grant, yeah, somebody needs to be working on those phones.
February, he may not even last till February. If he plays like he's been playing through Christmas, I think somebody's going to make an early jump to finish the second half of the season or the second part of the seasonal year, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's just going to cost. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a few picks and a player or two, and I think they'll probably part ways with him. Or if it's the right player, you may be able to just give up just one draft pick for him. But it's going to have to be some draft picks included, though. They're going to want draft picks.
I think the Thunder have a few of them.
Man, y'all won't get them, man. Y'all won't get them. You know what I'm saying? I don't see you all get them, but you have the picks to make it happen. But I mean, it'll just be unfair at that point. And it should be. Y'all won't be able to get them for cap reasons because y'all are going to keep your core together. When it's time to renegotiate those contracts, y'all wouldn't be able to afford Jeremy Grant. No way possible.
Well, if Grant's coming in at 30, 31 years old, he's not part of the Thunder future either. So he's going to ride the contract out and he'll be gone. So even if he's a rental, it won't mean anything at that point because the Thunder's core is going to be locked in. I'm pulling up real quick, and then we'll get on out of here so I can go watch college football.
Oh yeah.
So Grant's got 4 years at 29.7 left is what it looks like. So I know getting rid of Dort is probably not an option. Dort's at 3 at 16.5. You could throw another couple pieces in there, and we still got a little cap room left. You lose Dort's defense, but you gain a second unit scorer in Jeremy Grant. Toss another couple of pieces in real quick and see what we can do.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the only way that you all would be remotely interested in something of that nature is if you all hit a major bump in the road and you just see that, hey, this is what's missing. But ultimately, you're probably going to be a top seed in the West again this year. So I don't see that being something that they would even be remotely interested in.
Maybe. You got Nikola Tokic who's going to come back next year and be on the second unit as well. It's the guy that we drafted in the first round this year. That's coming off a ACL injury or MCL, whichever it is. So I just put in. This is on Fanspo, the trade machine. Jeremy Grant to the Thunder for Dort, Kenrich Williams, and Usman James, and 3 first rounders. The protected Philly first round, protected Miami first round in 25, and then our first rounder in 27. And it went through as far as financially and everything else. But it also says that we're -2 wins on the trade. So there could be other pieces from Portland or whatever else that could get figured out, or you take Kenrich Williams out and put somebody else in, or whatever the case may be. It can be done if I did it within that length of time.
For sure. It is going to be fun, man. And I'm looking at this, and I know we're going to close in a second. The newest Splash brother, Buddy Hill, is averaging 25 points a game right now. 25.
Man,
Clay wasn't doing that.
6, 7, 8 threes last night.
Yeah, I just got to see them play tougher competition, though. That's the only thing. Because, I mean, they can be solid. And I guess you have Steph, man, even though, you know, everyone feel how they feel about Draymond. But they have some okay pieces. Now, they're another, you know what? If Jeremy Grant gets on that team, hey, because we know they have the assets. You can definitely flip Andrew Wiggins for Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
You can make that happen.
I don't think they got the pick capital necessarily, but they do have some players and some contracts that are.
That's what I'm saying. I want to say Wiggins and Jeremy Grant. You'll have to add a little something to it, but you probably can do Wiggins. I have to look.
Second.
Yeah, and Grant, and you probably can make that happen. And then Andrew Wiggins is still young enough to go with the core that they have there, to the point that he still could be a part of their future. That'll be he could get them right where they need to be. You know, it probably could even be a little bit scary if you can flip Andrew Wiggins into Jeremy Grant. That may be kind of crazy. Just thought about it. Yeah, we'll have to see, man. But a lot of good basketball to be played this season.
Yeah, and with that, we'll come to a close. We'll get back together again in a couple of days and kind of see what's happened between now and then, and talk about the games that we talked about today, and kind of review those and see where everybody stands now. See if there's any type of injuries, whatever, and So appreciate y'all watching. Second episode of Pull Up and Shoot. Come back again, check us out. Watch the first one if you haven't seen it, and then we'll see you in a couple of days.
All right. See you all. Go Lakers.
Go home.
All right, man.